Good morning, anybody out there? How are you on this Monday morning? I'm not sure I'm awake yet, but I'm here and I have my coffee, so we'll see what we can get done today and how things are looking. Again, I haven't touched anything since last stream on Thursday afternoon, just picking up right where I left off and taking a moment to take it in and see how much more I think I need to do for the face before I can just move on to some other parts. And well, there's quite a bit I am fairly happy with going on, I think. And yeah, we're gonna see. Just do some tooling around. Low pressure on this one. So on my little watercolor palette, I'm going to kind of pre-moisten some of my colors. If I can find my tools that I need. I had everything packed up for the weekend to go on a little art trip. So I didn't entirely finish unpacking pre-stream. So I'm looking for a pipette that I have. Maybe isn't even in here. Let's see. Yeah, just a little plastic pipette that I can use to grab some water from my water jar and put a little drops in my paint, let them get a little soft so they'll be nice and a little easier to work with. Less brush effort. Okay, give those a minute. I don't think there's anything in here I need at the moment. Just millions of different pencils and pens and charcoal things and what you could possibly need to do any sort of drawing. I might do a little, maybe we'll do a little colored pencil and some details and do some lines, maybe some geometric stuff on the face. Also, so I had a very good weekend. Went to next state over, stayed with my very gorgeous human being of a friend who always inspires me. And we just work on art and we talk, make food, and it was great. I didn't have any particular projects to take there to work on. I just kind of took a bunch of different papers, some watercolor paper, some regular paper, and some art supplies, and was just like, let's just try to have some ideas come out and let things flow a little. And that was really good. That can be really hard to do because it's always that like internal pressure to create something with purpose and to be working towards something in particular. And it's like, I'm just gonna do and see what comes and try to like exercise that part of my brain that can just flow a little bit. I also worked with, I took some of my oil pastels, another one of these little sets like here. This is a tiny little set, to see how it was to work with it. And I think I discovered that I don't love it. I can actually even show you what I did. I don't love it as a medium, just on its own, maybe with a combination of like some solvents. That would be a little better, but so this is the piece that I did with, this is all the color here is oil pastel. I don't know, maybe it doesn't help that I only have a very tiny set of colors. So mixing is a little tricky. And I only did like, this is a small area of the page to like do a whole piece, and then probably would be very irritating unless it was a much smaller piece. Yeah, I might be interested in playing with them with some solvents and see how that is. Or else it'll just be like, portions of things, like just little areas where I can add them for little punches of line work. But yeah, that was just some play. I've had this thing with teeth recently, and I can't entirely explain it. But yeah, you might notice that. This was the backing from a watercolor postcard notebook that I was taking the last sheet out of to paint. So I'm like, I can draw on that. So I drew a little crow with a pause thought bubble, and that was just a little fun thing. This is the last piece of paper that I'd taken out of there to paint on, just very much screwing around. I had some drawings that I did, but I also had this tiny little watercolor book. It's the most adorable thing. It's the size of the palm of my hand. Picked it up for $2 at some art store somewhere. Couldn't resist. And I've had it for a couple of years, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. So I decided to do some little rocket ships. I don't know why, no particular reason, but I'm just like, I think I'm going to fill this with little rocket ships. So I got like, this one's a little bit more of a traditional type of a illustration with a little bit of ink and watercolor. There's teeth. Again, I told you, nothing about teeth these days. A little rocket ship crashing into teeth. A little split screen one. So it's kind of fun to work very tiny. Like my first one in here was much more loose. This one was very exact. So kind of playing with that, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 more to fill. So 15 sheets in there. I think I'm going to fill it up with little rocket ship things, and why not? Just having some fun. Playing, like just creative playing. It's so important. So, okay. Moving along to doing something productive here. Let's see. What do you think? My brushes. I'm going to move my coffee away from my paint water. That is always a dangerous near miss in my case. So, all right, couple of washes, maybe a little bit of detail work, and then I can maybe start to attack some of this. I will still need to do the needles on the cactus portion, so we'll see how that is. Hey Jim, how are you? How are you? Good morning. Hope you are well for the week. All right, let's see here. I think I'm going to push this area back a little bit. This area needs a little pushback. Towels. I keep forgetting to replace the paper towels. Yeah, this definitely gets flat over here, but it's probably going to get at least partially covered up with some something yet to be determined. But in the meanwhile, what the heck, let's give it another shadow roll. you know, it's very messy. It's a lot more like texture than I would want there because I don't want that to draw a lot of attention. So we need more, a little more flat approach to the coverage, but that may come in the form of another medium. Yeah, I'm getting to about the point where I'm not going to want to add much more here. I imagine that the way I work with watercolor would probably give a lot of watercolor artists like anxiety because I know it's not probably like proper, if that makes sense. Okay. I kill my poor paper. It's like no more layers, please. All right. So maybe at the point where I'll let this dry and then probably call it complete as far as the watercolor section goes. I mean, at least as complete as I can ever call anything without going back and screwing around with it 100 times. Oh, I think I've lost some of my teeth here. Okay. Well, that went quicker than I anticipated, but that's fine. I'm going to reach over here and grab a good set of, pretty decent set of pencils that I have. I don't use them a ton, but sometimes it's nice to put a little bits of something here and there. I struggle with having the patience to do like very detailed renderings in pencil. I can do it. I've even been hired to do it. Sometimes I wonder why people hire me for the things that they do. If I feel I can do the job justice, I will take the job and do my best. You see, I said I was done, and here I am. My own worst enemy always. Okay. Okay, for real now. So while that settles into the paper and dries, so I won't add anything with colored pencils while that's happening, but I can start to think about what I might like to see happening over here with all the white space. And I can look at some of my cuttings that I have from different bits I've been collecting. I have so much stuff. I know I brought out my entire bin before. I think, no, not for this one. So, see what we find that's interesting. This one cracks me up. See, the light's a little too intense. Can I get it there? Yeah, there we are. Old-fashioned lady with a gun in a Western outfit. It's very weird. From an old black and white Life magazine cutout. Just very random things, but I kind of like it for this piece, maybe. We'll see. My feeling prickly painting. What else have we got? I'm still waiting for the very right time to use this. How to be a girl. It's just the worst and the best. I have a lot of good ones here that I'm really little things to hold on to and find just the right place for them to go. And I'm always grabbing more, always on the lookout for more. So these might be some bits that I'd work with. Some more. Some larger pieces that are more just textural. Old receipts. 1955 right there. Machine parts. Thematically, I'm not so sure about anything with it, but just texture maybe? I don't know. Not sold on it yet. What else we got? What else we got? Got a couple, oh, I wonder if these are even from, no, I don't think they're from the same thing, but I probably, like, I wouldn't use both of those most likely, but possibly one or the other if I feel like that's right. A lot of random face bits. Weird little textural papers. This part can be equally like frustrating and just fun because it's just throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks. Based on sometimes nothing. An open shirt. Can't always even tell you what drives me to like collect the little bits that I grab, but it's just something in them. That might be interesting. Not by itself. But I'm okay with things kind of like creeping in here because that works with the feel. At least for me. It like feeling that I'm garnering from what I'm creating here feels a little like claustrophobic and irritating. So maybe we'll start there. And my favorite part, getting covered in glue. All right, I've got my neutral pH adhesive, my good old sturdy stuff that I love to throw on everything. Look at that. Goodbye, people faces. You look like you were dancing. Thin layer to like spread it on top, really plaster it on there. All right, where I put my towel? Ah. All right, full tilt into the chaos. I hate this paper. It's like, I think it probably at one time was like scrapbooking paper type of a crafty thing. I hate it, but I'm going to use it because it's going to get mostly covered in just that little bit of something that could peek through, and in that case it would be okay. It's amazing how much I lose things that are sitting right in front of me on my desk. I'd like to consider it a talent that I've refined over the years. This level of absent-minded is something you truly I have to curate and work at. Push out some of those little funny hair bubbles or whatever they are, crinkles. Get that relatively flat. And I don't mind that it picks up some of the paper and like destroys it a little bit. That is entirely okay. A little brayer, I guess you call it. All right. Set these to the side for a moment. And let's grab some acrylic paint. What do we want? What do we want? I'm feeling some pink. Perhaps. Some pink. Or some yellow. Oh, I gotta make a run for some more paint pretty soon. Just keep adding the ones I'm getting low on to the list. Oh, I hate these caps. I love golden paints. I think they're really great, but I hate the caps that they come with. They actually, like this one is actually broken. The very top of it has pulled away on one side from the part that threads. And so not only can they be really difficult to open. Use my towel to try to grip it better. But then that happens, and then you don't have a good, proper seal. And now this is all like gummy and a little dried. So let's see if I can get some out to use. So I've been buying a lot of the Liquitex Professional, which I think is fine too. I almost entirely though, because of the caps are much more functional and easier to use. And I've not had one of those break on me. All right, come on. I need to get one of those tube squeezer things. Come on. There we go. We're just gonna lay that on some areas nice and thick. Ah, come on. This is crazy. Feeling like a 90-pound weakling this morning. Can't get the paint out of the tube. Oh, that is very satisfying. And that goes on real nice and smooth. Like laying down putty over drywall. See if I can pry up some of this gunky stuff, maybe. That might help. All right, to the garbage. Now how are we? There. That's all we needed. No surgery. Cat hair? Yep, cat hair. Tell you, stuff gets everywhere. It is early February and it is a straight up spring-like day outside. Sun's shining, snow's melting, birds are singing. I don't trust it. Definitely do not trust it. The lighting looks so different between like when I'm looking at what my eyes see over this and then what I'm seeing on the screen, and I've messed with my settings on the camera to try to have things be fairly true, but I think I don't know if it's my white balance I need to tweak more, maybe, because everything feels like a little bit more cool and a little bit more washed out than like what my own eyes tell me is here. I keep dropping my towel. Okay. So that's something I will have to continue to fuss with a little bit, but otherwise pretty good. It probably doesn't help when the light changes, like there's actually daylight today, so besides my studio lights on, I have also the window wide open over there. But you'd think I'd be far enough away from the painting not to... What do I know? I'm no professional. Okay. That's probably a little too... Probably too blunt as is. But maybe could be interesting. You cap, you come on. Swear to the gods. Anyway, all right. Moving on. Let's trim this along the curve a bit. Let's try to not be completely arbitrary about it, as I usually am. About like that. Let's see how well we do. Over. What did I? About there. Yeah, what the hell? Let's do it. Let's go crazy. No time for doubts. Come on. There we go. When all else fails, pretend you know what you're doing. Okay. Right now that looks really just like out of place and stands out a lot, but as I continue to work things up around it, it will become much more subtle. Glue bits all over me. Anyway, this is why I have studio clothes. I think You know, that was kind of an accident that this is here, but I think we're gonna go with it. It works for me. Right over here. Totally dry. These magazines, especially newer ones, paper's very thin and it can buckle up and give you a lot of ripples, which, where did I put my towel? Oh, isn't necessarily the worst thing if you know it's gonna happen or work with it. Can always work with things. If you're not trying to create like realism or you know, trying to be very precise with things, you can always make it work. And it's probably, I don't know, maybe it's not the right advice to give, but I tell my kids in school in an attempt to try to get them, the kids in my art class, to not be so like precious that they are afraid to try things and afraid to actually just jump in and, you know, get paint down. It's like when they're working with acrylic paint at this age, it's like, beautiful thing about working with this paint is you can generally always fix things. You can always let the paint dry, paint over it again. So you never have to be that afraid to try. And I try to get that into their minds, but, you know, kids are kids. They need to hear things quite a few times and even see it demonstrated sometimes to really be able to have much of a helpful effect. I don't think that's... More workspace would be really nice. And it's not going to be anytime soon. Gotta work with what I got. I really, really love the idea of like the shared studio spaces for artists, where like people can, like, I would love to do this. I know that there's places that do things like this, but there's nothing like it anywhere around me, where you have like a nice big old building and you have little spaces that artists can rent out as studios, and maybe larger spaces for exhibitions, and besides that, besides like gallery space and artist space, like collaboration space, like shared work space where people can bring in their projects, bounce ideas off of each other, collaborate on things, like physically working on the same projects together. There's variations of that in different places, but not anywhere around here. Here being suburbs. Like, I think if I go an hour away from the suburbs, there's a couple of options, or away from where I am. If I go into the city, that's another hour that way. There's probably plenty and lots of studios available, but there's nothing like that around here. There just isn't. I'm sure cost is an issue. Everything that would be in a reasonable location that would make sense for that is going to be prohibitively expensive. That's why everything is nothing but chain stores, because it's too expensive to take the risk and open something interesting. having my hand in the paint, but luckily it's pretty tacky. Like a locally owned bookstore even would be really nice. I would love it if there was a local bookstore. There are half-price bookstores around. That's probably the closest thing, but even that, isn't that a national chain too? I don't know. There's Barnes and Nobles. There's half-price books. There are no like neighborhood bookstores. Neighborhood bookstores, great coffee shop hangouts that aren't Starbucks where people were, you know, there's some decent music and art hanging on the walls, and it's like, where do these things don't hardly exist here? I guess not a lucrative enough audience for it. I don't know. I find that all to be irritating, but seems to just be the way. And those are like the things that I hate about the suburbs, at least where I am. I'm sure there are others in other cities or other areas around Chicago even, maybe, that are better that I just don't know about, but it's like, there is some cultural things. There is like a theater downtown here that puts on some pretty, that's a pretty decent, like, I don't mean movie theater, like they do musicals and it's community type theater. And that's really great. There's at least one tiny small music venue in town here, or like walking distance to downtown, or it is downtown, I guess. But there just isn't much. You have to be so sure that you're going to bring in so much money to be able probably to afford the rent anywhere that it becomes really prohibitive. Yeah, more art spaces, more creative spaces, more places for any collaboration, like coffee shops where you can just hang out and not be Starbucks. That can be community places. The couple of coffee shops that have opened around here, there is a Starbucks, of course, and a couple others, but they're very I don't know, they're just trying to be something that isn't appealing to me. I'm obviously not their target audience. It's like very lady, very French chic kind of stuff. So yeah, target audience is I don't know, maybe that just is the most of the people that live around here. Maybe that's why I just stay home all the time. Bye, Jim. It was great to see you. Thank you for joining for a bit. Have a great day. It's turning on, and I can get, before I completely forget, I can give my lady some eyelashes. That's always like the last thing. Get there, let me just... That's generally like the very last detail that comes with anything, is like the eyelashes, the hair. That's the on top of everything. The last, that should be the last detail. The tiniest details, you work your way up to that. And hey, look, there's a rule that I kind of subscribe to. I guess that would be it. yeah, working up to those details. Gotta get all the stuff underneath right first. I said I was going to do the thing, and now I'm doing another thing. Welcome to the chaos that is my brain. Okay. Let me see here. A couple of teeth highlights. Extremely subtle, but definitely wanted that there. A couple of highlights along the lips that I didn't leave well enough alone on. Okay. Now eyelashes. Just not crazy. I mean, people do look a little weird without eyelashes. Like people without eyebrows too. It always just like, it's that subtle thing that just makes people look there's something not right. It's like not so far from like the uncanny valley type thing that people talk about with where people don't look right, CGI, video game characters and things where they're so human that the not humanness of them just becomes almost uncomfortable. But I think people can themselves kind of create that simply by going to work in order to make space. Yes. That's awesome. Bye, Jim. That's really cool. I love Makerspace. Our library has a makerspace, like just a couple blocks away from me. I've been there a couple times. Like, you could learn how to use their 3D printers, how to submit work to them, really. And there's a laser cutter thing that they have that you can learn to use too. But I've been it's relatively new. I've kind of been waiting for them to like get into it with actually offering things to do there. Like, they have that equipment, so you can like submit work to be cut, to be printed, but that's not like what you do there. They cut it and then you can like go pick it up. Like, I want to see how we can actually use that space. That's what I'm potentially excited about. I don't know. I'm sure they'll get going, because it basically got finished like with, with the pandemic and stuff not being entirely over. I mean, not that it truly is yet, but what, I think you all understand. We all live in the same world together. I did see this month, and I probably missed it, because there is something you want to sign up for. If you don't do it like the first of the month, you're kind of generally out of luck. But they were offering a course to do little felt animals. And I think that would be fun. I would like to learn to do that, along with all the other things I want to learn to do. And that's, probably a good way to do it, because otherwise, like, I do the thing where I buy all the stuff to try to learn how to do something, and I do it the one time, and then I may love it, I may not, but I don't stick with it long enough to like really master anything, and I go back to doing the things I have to do. So it's doing it through the library, where it's like, here's the supplies and we're going to walk you through it, give it a try. That's like probably the most ideal situation for me to try things. Now, if they need to get all the other things that I want to try too, then we'll really have something to talk about. But either way, I'd like to sign up for that class. I gotta see. I should try to remember once I'm done with the stream to check that out. See if there's still any spots open. But yeah, they have kitchens there. And I think they do some cooking type classes, but they haven't been anything that I've been particularly interested myself in yet. At least as of yet. And yeah, they have huge like places with work tables. Oh, they do sewing. They have like sewing machines, a room of sewing machines. I have a sewing machine I've had for, oh my God, how long have I had it? It's probably like 18 years, and I've never once been able to successfully thread it myself to use it at all. Isn't that ridiculous? Like, and I'm always like, oh, if I could just, make and my own things, or that would be amazing. My mom's was always made a lot of stuff for herself, and when we were kids she made Halloween costumes for us and stuff. She doesn't do much sewing now, but she still does some beautiful handwork as it works out for her to do so, as she feels up to it. I have a beautiful cardigan that she made, a throw Afghan. So yeah, I don't know that I would ever have the I don't think like knitting and crocheting are probably the things that speak to me nearly as much, but I have all of the awe and respect for people who do it. It's incredible. But there are other things that I would like to attempt. There's a part of me that really wants to try like weaving and like the punch hook. I probably don't have that right at all. But yeah, there's so many cool things, and I'd like to try them. And then there's always that part of my brain that's like, is this something that we could incorporate into like the work I'm doing, my artwork that I'm doing? You never know until you try, yeah. So we should try things. Yeah, so I hope that space will be more interesting in the way it's utilized. I don't know. I wonder, maybe I just don't like run in the right crowd, so to speak. Like, I just don't know the right people who are doing the things that I'm craving and wanting to see. Maybe it's all there, and I just, because I don't do a lot like directly in the community here, I'm just completely unaware. It's possible. I've joined another area art guild that isn't like super close to me. It's going to be like probably almost a 40-minute drive to go to the meetings, but I really would like to, be involved in area things and like, having a say in creating the kind of culture that I would love to see with the arts in the area, things that are, I don't know, a little bit accessible to some extent, but also relevant and interesting. That is what I would like to see. Not that it matters to anything or anyone, but yeah, art makes the world a better place, doesn't it, for the most part? I mean, that's certainly, there nothing can be a blanket statement, but by and large. Where are we now? Okay. Let's get some more texture down. This is another one that it could almost work in this, but it's like too big. Too big. Okay, where was my little cowboy lady that I wanted to incorporate? I lost her in my piles. Oh no, where did she go? Oh, I see her. There she is. Where should she go? The decision-making process is always can be a challenge and interesting. I don't know. I don't know if I want her to be a part of like the exterior or more in the painting. I don't want to cover her up too much. Like, I want her to be her. She's so small and like weird, but I don't want to lose that. Clean up my cuts a little bit. Okay, we'll set you here for now. Maybe just get something else, some more texture. Start building the layers. Yeah, I like that. Come on, come on, glue. Always failing me. There we are. This is nice. This is a piece from a postcard, an old postcard. So these have like nice weight and heft to them. So they definitely don't, using this sort of thing definitely doesn't buckle at all. It just, you just got to get it, to get that initial grab where the corners aren't, and the edges aren't kind of trying to come up, but it's really a nice weighted piece. And some little nerdy things I'm pulling on the green. The green that's in the cactus is now has a reference somewhere else. And kind of here too. That doesn't really speak as directly, but we start to create something. There's a little bit of balance that we can start to build. All right. And I do enjoy like wordplay, obviously, between magazine cutouts or material cutouts or even writing, as I have here. But I also enjoy the typography as a design element, where, yes, this was a word that said something in somewhere, in some context, but here it's just becomes like a repeating graphic pattern. And I might marry that with some of the pink that I've started to build here on the edge. Right about here. love this adhesive for the way it works in my art, but man, working with it, it's just like, it's awful. It gets on your hands and just has these layers that peel off, and I mean, it washes off well enough, but it kind of makes me crazy working with it. All right, let me think now. Where are we? Where are we? What's next? Not everything has to be, you know, a meaning. Sometimes it's just part of the building process. Coffee. I know that this is very much attention grabbing, this edge here, like being so hard and so much darker than everything, but trust the process. It will, the layers will build, it will come together, it will work. We're gonna get there. All right, continuing on. This was from some kind of an ad, probably for a perfume or something ridiculous like that, or makeup. I love weird artsy things, but perfume commercials just kill me, because so often it's like, what does that have to do with, looks commercial is just some weird little arty thing, and then they're like, oh, I do brush stroke by some designer, I don't know. And you're just like, what did I just see? And it feels so like trying to be artsy in a pretentious and condescending way to sell you some capitalist garbage. I don't know. Yeah, it's just like art eating itself. Kind of. And that's sort of like, I don't know, the movie The Menu? I did see that, and I remember seeing the ads for it, and I'm like, what is the tone here? At first it's like, oh, it's a movie version of these food shows that people love that have nothing to do with cooking competition type stuff. And then it's like, wait, so it's comedy? No, so it's horror? What is it? And I'm not gonna like spoil anything about it. I think it's worth watching. It is dark humor, very dark humor, and it's like pretension eating itself. And it's like not my favorite movie by any means. I will probably never watch it again, but I appreciated that about it. Like, I don't know, it just is such a turn off, the whole pretentious consumerism stuff. Who is it for? Like, who? I don't know. It's a different world. There's things for everybody in the world, obviously. And that's fine. I don't mean to be judgy about anything. what people like or what they enjoy. But it just feels, it feels like exploitive in a way that like it's trying to make you think that it's going to do something for you that it's not going to do, that it's going to make you a value of a person or of culture or raise your status in a way that's so just so shallow. And I mean, to be an artist talking about that, I mean, my God, people spending millions of dollars on art, this whole speculative art world, but that feels the same to me too. It feels so removed from almost anybody's reality. It's not real. It doesn't seem like a real thing. People go to auctions and spend tens of millions of dollars on artwork by so-and-so, and mostly all dead, so that money's not actually like benefiting any artists generally. It's benefiting collectors and speculation, and isn't there all these questions about laundering and things like that happen at that level, like hiding wealth and moving money, and it's I don't know. I'm not interested in that. I'd rather burn that to the ground and replace it with something much more interesting and of people. Creations that mean things and speak to people and have value to more than a handful of critics and wealthy collectors. Because art isn't about hanging something in a museum. I mean, a museum serves a purpose of preserving history, preserving things that are culturally important, but that's not where the only place that art should reside in any meaningful way at all. That's not reality either. Well, how are we doing? I think I've had enough of my soapboxing today, so apologies for that. Okay. Well, Definitely like making progress today in terms of moving this piece along. It's definitely not anywhere, like there's a lot to still happen. Okay, let me put down maybe a little bit more paint, kind of like I did with the pink, a little layer like that, and then what do I call it? Maybe some blue. Maybe a little blend. Couple different ones and we'll mix on the paper a little bit. All right. All right, this might be as good of a place as any to pause this piece. And it's very disjointed and everything, and the more I build, the more things will come together and we'll end up with a more or less cohesive but chaotic piece. All right. So I'm gonna go drink some more coffee, ponder my day a bit, what else I need to get done, and hopefully I will see you again soon. I'm going to be back streaming on Thursday evening, back to my normal time, probably 6:30, either 6:30 or 7. I'm trying to figure out what works best, whether streaming, because I do want to keep to one like morning stream and one evening stream. So perhaps the Monday morning and Thursday night is the way, or I mean, I could even swap those, Monday evening, Thursday day. I'm not sure. I'd love to hear any feedback on that if anyone out there has thoughts or opinions or anything. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a great week. Thank you for joining me on Monday morning, and I will see you soon. Get creative, stay sane, have a great one.